Hey guys, welcome back. I know it has been a little while, but it's just been a super crazy busy season of life for us. However, my mom has been visiting, and if you know me and you know my mom, or if you don't, that means we're going to be spending a bunch of time in the kitchen, which is my favorite part about when she comes to visit us. We prep and we bake and we cook all kinds of fun stuff. Today, we are doing something special and close to home. We are making pasties. These are a northern Minnesota thing. That's why I say home. I'm living in Indiana now with my husband and family, and so it's just a really fun thing that we like to do once a year when she comes to visit, is make some pasties, enough to put in the freezer so we have some meals and dinner for tonight. So as you can see, we are well underway. My mom is already cutting up a nice sirloin steak that we picked up. Bite-sized pieces is perfect for this. And then I'm gonna get started on some of the veggies. Okay, while Mom was finishing up cutting that meat, I just got the pan ready with about a tablespoon of olive oil and turned it on medium-high, so it is ready to go. So we just started the meat. We're gonna dice up an onion, add that in along with some garlic, and let it finish out cooking with that. In the meantime, just finishing up dicing up some carrots. Alrighty, we got a nice simmer going with our steak over in the cast iron pan. So we're just gonna add in those onions and a little bit of garlic and continue cooking it. While I'm finishing up on these carrots, my mom is just doing some quick kitchen cleanup. As I've mentioned before, she's a firm believer and she's taught me well. Clean as you go, it just makes things that much smoother, and it's more enjoyable to be in the kitchen. We are now on to the potatoes, and we just use russet potatoes, probably about 5 or 6, I think is what we ended up using. You're just gonna want to peel and dice those up. Then just be sure to rinse your potatoes before you dice them. The prep for this is probably the longest part. Once you get everything ready and in a bowl, the putting together of the pasties goes pretty quickly. However, we did start the pasty prep pretty early in the morning, so I'm getting us some yummy cinnamon raisin toast so we can refuel and keep going in the kitchen. This is homemade actually. It's called Crusty Bread off of Heartway Farms here on YouTube and over on Instagram. I have never made bread until this, and let me tell you, it is such an easy process and it turns out so delicious. In fact, we ended up having to show you guys how to make that as well, coming up in one of our next videos here during Mom's visit. But before we take a quick break, we are going to put our diced potatoes into some cool water. Completely cover them just because you don't want them to turn brown on you. And real quick before we forget, make sure to add a little salt and pepper to taste to your meat. Once your meat mixture is nice and browned, turn your burner all the way down to low. And then if you have a cover, grab that. We just used some foil, covered it up, and let it simmer for about 40-45 minutes. And now we are ready to mix up the pasty dough, which is exactly what my mom uses for her pie crust as well. So in a bowl, you're gonna mix flour. We are just dicing up some Crisco. Mom says she has used butter before. You can certainly use butter, but she definitely swears by the Crisco. It makes the crust that flaky, buttery, crunchy goodness. And I will be sure to leave the crust recipe for you guys down in the comments below. Just check that after the video. After you get either your butter or Crisco added in, you're just gonna mix it up for quite some time till you get it nice and crumbly. We find it's easiest to do that with a fork. We got that all mixed up, so now we're gonna add some ice into a small bowl. And this step is pretty crucial in this crust recipe if you want it to turn out the best. We're adding in 1 egg with some vinegar. Doesn't so much matter what type of vinegar, just make sure you mix that up, and then you're gonna add in 7 tablespoons of ice cold water. It has to be ice cold. And while I'm on this note, let me backpedal and just say we did also refrigerate our Crisco or butter if you choose to use butter, but make sure that that is also cold too. Once we have this step complete, we're just gonna give it a nice stir and add it right into our bowl of flour and Crisco. Our dough is complete. We're just gonna roll it up into a nice big ball and cover it up and let it sit in the refrigerator. Once it chills in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes to an hour, you can take it out and cut it into sections. Chilling it in the refrigerator just makes it a lot easier to roll out the dough. And now that we have it sectioned off into 6 even chunks, we are going to get started on rolling out our pasties. Just start off by flattening and kind of forming it in your palms first, and then you're going to flour one side really good, flip it over and leave that floured side on top. So just be sure to flour your rolling pin so it doesn't stick, and don't give it too much pressure. Just do a nice even roll. Flip once you feel like you're about halfway, and then finish out rolling it flat evenly as possible. Once you feel like you have it decently thin and evened out, but not too thin that it's going to be tearing on you, you can add your potatoes, carrots on top of that, and then your meat mixture. On top of all of your goodies, you're going to want to put a little bit of butter and salt and pepper. Then just go ahead and flip it over. Folding it in half is kind of tricky sometimes. Sometimes it goes smoothly. Sometimes it wants to stick to the counter. Just add a little flour, or like we did, use a spatula and help it over. You evenly fold and press all the way around your pasty, making sure it's nice and sealed. You can pinch to give it a little textured look and make it look nice, and then just transfer it onto a pan. Moving on to another one, and be sure to always add more flour. You will always need more flour. You never want your dough to be sticking or stuck to your rolling pin, your surfaces, or anything like that. And I do promise this part of the process does go much quicker than prepping all of the meat and vegetables. And as you continue making your pasties, each one seems to get easier and easier, and it moves a lot faster as you go. So we easily got 6 pasties out of all of our preparations, and definitely underestimated the amount of everything that we prepared. So we are trying out something fun and different that we haven't done before, and we're making a pasty pie. So we're gonna make this pasty pie instead of making more individual pasties, just because we did not have a dinner planned for tonight, and this will be perfect. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today in the kitchen. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to see some upcoming recipes. We really hope you enjoyed this northern tradition as much as we did, and we will see you next time.